Good afternoon. I'd like to introduce our speaker this afternoon. Nathan Girth earned his Bachelor of Science in Food and Nutrition from the University of Southern Indiana in 2014. He is a Serve Safe Manage First professional with 11 years of experience in food service and 6 of those in the healthcare setting. He has a true passion for food, helping others, and being in the forefront of culinary innovation. Please help me welcome Nathan.
All right, so she's going to cover most of my first slide. Thank you. So I'm Nathan Girth. I'm the executive chef at St. Mary's Medical Center here in Evansville. Like she said, I graduated from USI with a degree in food and nutrition with a concentration in food service management and a minor in business management. I'm also part of the Manage First Professionals of the National Restaurant Association. Serve Safe certified, all the fun stuff. So, like I said, 6 years now I've been working in the healthcare industry. I started out like most people in my field. I was a dishwasher when I was 16 years old. Slowly worked through different restaurant, hotel jobs, and got to about my 21st birthday, and my insurance was going to run out. So I had to find a job that had insurance. So I went to a healthcare facility. First experience cooking at a healthcare facility, and I was petrified. I walked in, and some of the food we were serving was absolutely disgusting. We had a day where we couldn't figure out between cubed pork and Salisbury steak.
PowerPoint and everything good for you?
Yes.
Okay, I just double check. Sorry to bother.
No, you're fine. Thank you. So we're standing in the freezer looking at these 2 pieces of meat, and they're both hammered and freezer burnt and just nasty. So I remember telling my mom, I'm like, I need to do something else. So I went back out of healthcare because the experience was so bad. Went back to school, started with nutrition, started getting back into it, went back to St. Mary's, started getting a new experience. So from the time I've started, I'm only 31, so I've been in food service for 11 years. So do the math, I've been doing food service a long time. Most of that has been in healthcare now. Times have changed. No longer do we do Salisbury steak or resort to meatloaf as the #1 meat Thursdays. Everywhere, every hospital in the state of Indiana has meatloaf on Thursdays. I don't know why that is. And turkey on Sunday. And so we're trying to break the mold. Trying to do something different. A lot of that starts with the ingredients. So, beginning of my career, we'd walk in, and the largest part of our facility for holding would be dry storage. Your canned goods, all your boxed mixes, so stuffing mix, gravy mixes, all of that. So what does all of that have in it? Ton of sodium, tons of preservatives. Anybody opened up a can of canned green beans, and you just see the brownish green sludge. So there's only one way to repair them. You throw a bunch of bacon in it, some onion, and cook it down all day. So that's the only way to make it taste good. So now, present day at St. Mary's, we have huge stockroom. Storeroom probably twice this size. We maybe use a third of it. We have a produce cooler that's about half this size, and it's stuffed to the max. So the new move is everything fresh. Fresh green beans, fresh carrots, fresh spring mixes instead of romaine and iceberg lettuce. So everything moving towards the fresh. Anybody have any questions on that? When I say fresh, everybody got it? Okay, that also goes for our meat. Instead of the cubed pork and the cubed steak that are freezer burnt, now we get all of our meats in fresh. They all are whole muscle meats. So anybody here had deli turkey that you do not like from Subway? Okay. I use Subway because I hate their deli turkey because it tastes like water to me. They pump that full of sodium, they cook it, and then they just cinch it up and send it out to all these places, and it's just a big watery sodium mess. So for us, we started doing whole, fresh turkeys, cooking them in-house so we can control that sodium. Same way with our roast beef. I don't know if anybody's familiar with food service enough to have worked in a commercial kitchen, and you get pre-cooked roast beef. It just comes in, and it's in these bags, and the bags are like charcoal brown, black. You open it up, and all of the fat has congealed again. So you have these big honking pieces of fat that come off, and by the time you cut it, the color of the meat is just an awful. It's almost the color of your shirt, the inside. Anybody want to eat beef that looks like that? I do not. And that's normally where you get that pink sludge you've heard about, like referred to with McDonald's and stuff. So, where the challenges come in are specialty diets. So here's just the list of some of the specialty diets we encounter on a daily basis. Some of them, pureed, mechanically soft, deal totally with texture. So, mechanically soft, they can chew a little bit. Normally you have to have it ground or chopped. Pureed is pure all the way down to just the pulp. So we try to do as many of ours from scratch as we can. Some of them don't work out as well. If you try to do a pasta, it really has a bad consistency. Then renal, cardiac, no sugar added, sodium controlled. That's where we run into issues. Because we have a hospital that can hold 300 people. How do I create a menu that satisfies the people on the regular diet? And how do I satisfy the people who are on a cardiac diet? They're sodium controlled, and they're on a fluid restriction. So that's where we come with baselining everything and starting with the freshest ingredients. Anybody have an idea of what percentage of our actual menu is for a cardiac diet? So we have roughly 75 items on there. Anybody have a guess on how many of those items will go across to all diets?
I would say 50%.
50? Anybody else got one?
75.
75?
30.
40?
30.
30? 85%. So that was a huge step for us this last year. We took all the meatloaves, all of the traditional fare that we've been doing, and just got rid of them and started over. 85% means that all of our specials every day, every diet can have. We do a Jamaican jerk chicken on Tuesdays. We balance that with a pork loin on Wednesday, airline chicken breast on Thursday, sloppy on Friday, baked ziti on Saturday, and pot roast on Sunday. So all of those have one thing in common. Did anybody put those together? All those meats come in fresh. None of them are pre-made. So we make all of them fresh every day. All of our veggie choices, all are fresh that come in. So we do asparagus, we do Brussels sprouts, we do green beans, we do carrots, we do corn. Corn's the only thing we have to get in frozen because I can't figure out how to get them off of the stock.
Where do you get your fresh vegetables and meats?
We do at Piazza Produce. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're our contracted server. Piazza is great because they do a ton of local in the state of Indiana. So my last produce order I put in yesterday, roughly 50% was local Indiana or Michigan. So they consider local Indiana or Michigan. Comes with its own challenges though, because anybody who's eating local knows that sometimes your quality may vary more frequently because they don't have as many quality control checks. They don't have as many high dollar machinery to blow pieces of green bean off the conveyor belt whenever it comes through. So it's a little bit of a difficult challenge, but it's worth it in the end. And then the back end, we're supporting our local economy, so it's great.
What do you do in the winter time for fresh produce?
Fresh produce, we always keep our green beans and carrots. Corn, we always keep frozen because we can't get it off the kernel, or off the cob, yeah. We do keep all spinach, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, all fresh. The only thing we ever go over to the other side is green beans if they really get bad. So there's a time, January, February, it can get pretty dicey. Cost-wise, it's always pretty much the same for us, so we don't have to worry about that. But the quality, if the quality is not where we want it, then we do have to go to frozen.
Is that from Indiana, Michigan too in the winter and
No,
houses,
absolutely
or you
not.
get it somewhere
Yeah, it
else?
comes from somebody else. So right now is the prime season for local. Blueberry, cantaloupe, all the melons are coming in. It's just like a supermarket. We get it just like that. It's fresh and seasonal. We get it then. If not, we have to go other routes. The one thing we absolutely will not do is buy canned vegetables of any variety. No canned beans. What's your name?
Missy.
Missy?
Yeah.
So Missy, have you eaten a sono? Or, yes.
Yeah.
All the beans that are made there every day are fresh. So we come in, each morning they come in, they soak them, and they cook them. Same for tray lines. They have any beans, they come in and soak them. Vegetable soup, broccoli, cheese soup, everything they come in and make that day. All right, so nutritional labeling. So I brought some fun stuff here. So, ranch. Everybody loves ranch, correct?
No.
No, good. Thank you. That's awesome. So this is Hidden Valley. This is the one I think most associated with ranch dressing. So, has anybody ever looked at the nutritional label for this? It's kind of scary, isn't it?
Don't look at it.
They so 14 grams of fat, 140 calories.
Per tablespoon? Then
For
it
2
takes
tablespoons.
2. Okay.
Okay. Fat-free ranch. I've never tried this. I'm kind of scared of it, to tell you the truth. So for 2 tablespoons, 25 calories, 0 grams of fat.
What's the sugar content? You know,
Okay.
sometimes they have the sugar to make it
3 grams, yep. So 3 grams in here and 1 gram in here. I like the good catch. So does that make this healthier than this?
No.
Absolutely not. Why?
Put fillers in it, we put other stuff in it that's equally as bad as that, so you might as well just eat that.
There is a light version. I'm just going to throw it up.
Yeah. Oh, I got it. So what's the number 1 ingredient in here? Fat. Yeah, fat. Vegetable oil. What's the number 1 ingredient in here?
Carbs, sugar.
Carbs, sugar. Water. All they do is they water this down. And they add...
And sugar, apparently.
Yes, add sugar, and then they add thickeners to it to get the right consistency. So your nutritional density of these are very similar. Most likely what ends up happening is people who buy this, they end up drenching their salads or whatever they're going to do because it has no taste. So they end up using as much to where it combats the nutritional benefit. All right, so what's a good way of, what's a good alternative to traditional dressings like that?
Make your own.
Make your own?
Vinaigrette.
Vinaigrette? So if you're going to make a vinaigrette, would you make it with this kind of oil or this kind of oil? Olive oil. So this is olive. Everybody's familiar with olive in here, correct? It's the thing. Coconut oil.
Oh.
Everybody's heard of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? They're both oils. What's the difference? Why is this one hard? Everybody see it? Because it looks like a candle in there. Why is this one hard and this one's oil? Hydrogenated? Yep. This one's natural, so it's not. But it's a similar concept. It's talking about the fats. So this one's saturated. Saturated fats are solid at room temperature. So when I was driving here in my car, I was keeping it real cold because I was afraid this was going to get really hot because it's pretty warm out today and go to liquid form. This has very little saturated fat, so 2 grams. This one has for 1 tablespoon of this, it has 12 grams of saturated fat. Why is that important to know? Is saturated good fat or bad fat? Bad fat. What are good fats? What are we shooting to get in our diet? Does it matter? It matters? Yep. It matters a lot. So we're looking to get mono and polyunsaturated fats, which are heavy in extra virgin olive oil. That's why they promote olive oil and healthy eating and making dressing. Not doing your peanut oil or your coconut oil. using olive oil. What's in poly and monounsaturated fats that makes them healthy? Omega-3, omega-6. These things are vital nutrients for sustained health. And they're things that are very hard to get in other places. You can't go to McDonald's. You can go to McDonald's and get protein all day long. You're going to have a hard time going to McDonald's and getting omega-3 and omega-6. Those are in walnuts, fish, oils, very limited number of products. Does anybody have this?
Yeah, I know some.
Yeah, my wife uses it for like beauty something.
Yeah, dry skin and
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's in our bathroom for some reason all the time. So, nutritional labeling when I grew up, it was all about calories, fat. That's all I knew about it. Luckily, I have a great education from USI, and they taught me the whole scope and what really matters about that nutritional label. So is it just calories and fat and then skim the rest? No. Actually, the majority of this stuff here is fine and dandy, but this, and the things that are in the ingredient list are what really count. So does anybody know what nutritional density is? Okay. It's having a certain number of calories and how many nutrients are in that amount of calories. So if I gave you the option of a sweet potato or a hot dog, which one do you think would be more nutrient dense? Sweet potato. Fewer calories. A lot of people say sweet potatoes are the most nutritious food in the world. I don't know if that's true or not. But they do have a lot of vitamins and minerals for a very low calorie intake. Hot dog has very little. You might get some protein, some carbs, some fat, and that's it. So each nutrition label has to have these ingredients listed. So calories, serving size. So why is serving size important? Because this is the biggest mistake most people make. Well, it's got 7 grams of fat. Well, for what portion? What portion is it? It could be... Yeah. It's a big difference, though, if it's a cup to a tablespoon, though. Same way it goes with your vitamins. So if it has 2% of calcium per tablespoon, that's pretty good. If it's 2% of calcium per 2 cups, it's not real great. Fat. So here we see the fat, saturated fat. Trans fat is a new one. Everybody familiar with trans fat? That was our great idea to try to make things healthy, and it really backfired. So trans fats always have to be listed. Most foods anymore now don't contain trans fat because they had such a bad reputation, they pulled them out. Cholesterol, sodium, carbohydrates. This is my favorite one. I think it's missed most time. Fiber. So there's 2 types of fiber, soluble and insoluble. Insoluble fibers help you with your digestive system. They keep the plumbing working. Very important when people are on a lot of medications, when they're not very active, when they might be on a liquid-controlled diet. All things that can kind of gum up the system. Ensuring proper amount of fiber is getting taken in. What are some foods that are good in fiber? Beans. Pears. Anything that has that fiber skin. Yep. What about soluble fiber? That actually breaks down into your system. It actually helps clear cholesterol out of your bloodstream. Soluble fiber, oatmeal is a great source of soluble fiber. So having a balance of those 2 fibers really help not only in the digestive process, but helping clean out some of the bad fats. And then proteins listed. So pretend I'm a huge bodybuilder. I'm going to drink 6 shakes of milk or muscle milk each day, all that protein, is that good for me? Is that helping me build muscle? No. Protein is very valuable. Protein helps replenish our body. It's huge in the muscle building process and recovery process. But taking in mass amount of quantities of protein isn't going to make you super strong, isn't going to repair everything, isn't going to make you skinny. What it'll end up doing is it ends up starving your body. So your body processes protein just like everything else, but it does not want to use that protein for energy. Your body wants to use that protein, or your carbohydrates for energy. So everybody's heard the Atkins diet, correct? Who thinks that's a good idea? Good. Love it. That's what it does. You take in so much protein, slowly your body just gets used to it. It takes a long time. It's really hard for your body to keep breaking down that protein. See anybody about their third month of the Atkins diet, and they look like this. They're done. I had an uncle who did it, and he went to the gym one day, and he goes, I got on the bike, and I went for like 2 minutes, and I was done. Like, I was just wiped out. And there's certain parts of your body that only function on carbohydrates. So your spinal cord and your brain. Kind of important. So the big push to all protein is a myth. Just balance. And then we have 4 vitamins and minerals that have to be listed. Vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron. Are those the only 4 vitamins and minerals that count, though? No, not at all. Anymore, since nutrition is on the forefront, most companies have their other vitamins and minerals listed. There's also some websites out there that can help. You can put in different recipes you make at home. They can put in different ingredient lists, and it can give you a more detailed printout of what you're consuming. So, have you ever heard of selenium? What's selenium in? Potatoes. So, selenium is something that I don't even know. I'm sure there's some kind of deficiency associated with it. I've never seen it, never been around it. But how do you know you're taking in selenium if you're not eating potatoes? How many people knew that there was selenium in potatoes? So that's the things you have to keep looking for. It's not just about these on here. And that's the big myth in the nutritional labeling. It's not just this. These are very important, but there's more to it.
What does selenium do for you?
Professor Ramos?
Selenium is one of those trace minerals, and it helps, I believe, with hair growth.
Yes.
So nails,
Yeah.
nails, so it's the parts of the body structure.
Thank you. I get to call her. That was my main professor all through college, so I love this. I love this role reversal. So we went over these 3. And when you're talking about older individuals, it's really limiting. You're talking about sustaining life, sustaining their nutrition, not adding weight. We're not talking about Olympic athletes. We're not going over and above and micromanaging all of their trace minerals and all of their fluid intake. You want to give a good wide spectrum. I know balance is out of vogue right now. They don't want you saying balance. They want this and that. But it truly comes down to balance. If I eat sweet potatoes every day, they might be healthy, but every day I'm going to be lacking something else. If I eat steak every day, I'm going to be great in protein, but I'm going to be lacking other stuff. So it's balancing those. I did something like this with a bunch of students at St. Mary's. And I asked them, I go, what's the healthiest food you think of? And we got spinach and all these different things. And I told them they were all right and wrong. And they always kind of looked at me like, this guy's just not very smart. I go, that's true. Every food has value to you. Every food has some kind of nutritional gain. But if you eat it too much, it also has a limiting factor. You have 2 different kinds of vitamins. You have water-soluble and fat-soluble. Vitamin C is a water-soluble vitamin. you take in more vitamin C than you need, yep, it's just going out of your urinating it out. So to hear people say, just take a multivitamin, you're great, that's all you need to do, is so not true. Because most of those you're going to excrete out. A lot of them don't actually digest in your body very well to begin with. So,
Can I ask you a question?
yes.
Back to the coconut oil, refined and unrefined, cooking with hot temperature versus a cooler temperature
Yes.
in olive oil. What?
Okay, so the general rule with olive oils is, so we'll start with oil in general. Oil has a smoke point. So peanut oil and canola oil are used in a lot of fryers. Really high smoke point. Olive oil, like extra virgin like this, has extremely low smoke point. General rule of thumb, if you're going to use extra virgin, only use it in applications where you're not cooking. Dressings, that variety. Regular olive oil has a little higher smoke point, not too much. I would go with actually butter. As much as it's got a bad rap, it's actually better for you than a lot of the other oils or other like margarine sticks. So just going with plain butter is great to cook with. If you have to do oil, canola oil. And then when it comes to frying, it's ensuring that for the quality that you're meeting your smoke point. So you don't want to do fried chicken with regular olive oil. It's just going to be too hot. I think the smoke point's sort of 2 something-ish. Canola oil is like 4. So it's just meeting that expectation. Coconut oil, I'm going to be honest, I've never cooked with it. I just use it in some cold applications for a dipping sauce. It's all right. I would go with coconut milk if you want the coconut flavor without the fat. That answer your question?
Refined and unrefined, the difference in the coconut oil. You can
I-
buy both ways.
Both ways?
And I don't know.
They're fine. I'm honestly not sure.
Okay.
I'm not use that product too much.
It's great with fried sweet potatoes.
It is?
We grow sweet potatoes and not a whole lot. You
Yeah.
just need a little tiny
Little bit.
bit. Yeah, and that's wonderful. But that was my question in the nutritional value to buy, which one is the best to buy, the refined or unrefined?
I'm honestly not sure. I have to look into it. That's a product I've not used very often. I made a great example for my saturated fat. I'm assuming the unrefined, it's probably not as much about the nutritional quality as maybe some of the organic traits, maybe. Was it an organic, unrefined? Yeah,
Both of them are.
both of them are.
Both
Okay.
of them.
Okay.
I'm just curious.
Okay. So eating healthy. We have all this information, wealth of information more about nutrition. What are the factors that really count, though? Because I can make you healthy meals all day long, and I will get them sent back to me every day. So, nutritious. Need to be nutritious. So that nutritional density. Fresh ingredients, trying to use fruits and vegetables, low-fat dairy, leaner meats. But it also has to be flavorful. Can't taste like cardboard. It has to be good. In our industry, we get, for as many, good jobs, we get as many, I wish you'd do this, or I wish you'd do that. We try to limit which ones of those are on flavorful, because without flavor, the food, it doesn't matter what it tastes like. Or it doesn't matter how nutritious or what it looks like or anything else. If it doesn't taste good, you're going to hear about it. Aromatic. So it has to smell good. Anybody sit down at a restaurant and you just smell, maybe someone burnt something in the back, or maybe they, I don't really like Mexican food, just the smell of the Mexican food just kind of makes me
Burnt popcorn.
Burnt popcorn, yes, exactly. Some of that's going to turn you off from the very start. Texture is a big thing. So if you're going to do a turkey breast, do you want that turkey breast to be really chewy, really dry, really hard? You want it to be soft. You want it to be moist. You want it to be easy to chew and visually appealing. So that becomes difficult with some of our bok choys and Swiss chards and some of these applications. Because the big green, you cook down, throw on the grill, or do this, and people, especially of an older generation, don't see that as necessarily a normal food. If I send up bok choy on a patient menu, I would probably be in trouble, because that's just not what that's not what we're associated with. We're getting more familiar with that kind of green nowadays, but it's different. So we have to present it differently. So if I'm going to do bok choy, how am I going to do it? I'm going to make it look like spinach. I'm going to cut it down to where the leaves are nice and small. That way, whenever the association comes, they can put it together. If I leave a whole leaf of Swiss chard that's pink and purple, it's going to look different. And looking is most of your meal. Another reason I don't like Mexican food, they always just throw everything on the plate. And it's all mixed together, and it just looks unappealing to me. And that's probably the biggest factor, other than flavor, that turns people off the food. Yes, ma'am.
Isn't it much more challenging to work in hospital than work in another area of food services when you have to try to satisfy the diets? It seems like it'd be so much easier to work in a different area.
Yes. It brings challenges, but the way I like to present it to people is, I can go work at a restaurant all day long. I can make food, and I might make some money. But you go work at a hospital and you make food, and you help people, and you serve people, it gives you purpose. So that's why I like it. Does it bring more challenges? Absolutely. You're dealing with people who are in a hospital. Most of the people, the highlight of their day is that food coming in, because they're sitting there waiting for tests. They don't want to be there. Unless you're on the baby floor, no one wants to be there. So they're looking forward to that food. They're looking forward to what's on that plate. But we have to balance it. I can't do what I want to do. Our cafe, I can do what I want to do. If I want to do pho, we did pho. If I want to do salmon, we can do salmon. If we do the patient line, I can't do that. I have to go with what the guests and residents like, which is very challenging, because anybody been to a hospital, there's people that are 100 and there's people that are 5. So how do we balance that? That's a great question. We balance it by providing different menus. So right now we're on the final stages of a pediatric menu. So focusing on things that they like. Also though, cardiac menu. So we have 85% across the board on our menu that's cardiac. That's not good enough still. Because the one thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see one of our guests open up a menu and ask for something and they can't have it. For instance, gravy. All of our gravy is low sodium. Does anybody in the hospital know that besides for the kitchen staff? Absolutely not. We do exactly. Because to me it gives a bad impression that whenever you ask for beef gravy, you have to say, no, we have to give you low sodium. So that's what we like to call stealth health. And this is the self-promotion. That's one of our parties this year. So stealth health is something I really kicked back on whenever I got into the field. I'm a nutrition student. I think everybody should know everything about nutrition. They should know what they're eating. We should tell them why it's good for them. We should tell all this stuff. And then you go up and talk on the floors 1 day, 2 days, a couple weeks, couple months, and you start to figure out that sometimes, as much as you want to make nutrition sound great, many people that have a passion for it, there's way more that think nutrition is hogwash and that you're giving me stuff that I don't want, and I want this, and I want Hidden Valley. I want Hidden Valley. And that becomes very difficult. That is the hardest challenge of our job, is balancing nutrition with what our patients want. I don't know how many times I walked into a cardiac room and heard, well, I want to eat like I do at home. I eat fried chicken, I eat mashed potatoes, I eat mac and cheese. So here's where we do what we call stealth health. So anybody heard that term before? It's making foods healthier. Just not telling anybody. Don't market it as much. If they ask, tell them. Yep. Absolutely. I love walking in a room and they go, that mac and cheese is really good. What did you guys do to it? Well, we made it. We made it with skim milk. We made it with cheese. We lowered the sodium. We added some other spices to it. So in lieu of salt, we added herbs and spices. A lot of them look at me and they think I'm crazy. They might be right. But they like something that they probably wouldn't have tried if we told them that that's our low sodium mac and cheese.
What kind of cheese do you use?
We use a mozzarella provolone blend. It holds up a little better in the steam table than the cheddar cheese. We tried that and it got a little funky.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it turned a weird orange color for some reason. So one of the big ones is dressing. Everybody loves ranch dressing. Ranch dressing goes over regular diets and that's it. So how did we get this to try to make healthy dressing? And I'm not going to lie to you, we failed. We tried this and we failed and we're trying to do it again. So we did yogurt-based dressing. Like she's getting out her display.
I wanted to see how many, what it was. I have some.
Go ahead and say it so everybody can hear it.
Well, this is a yogurt dressing. I was reading. Serving size 2 tablespoons, 30 ml. Serving about 8. Calories 60.
Okay.
Fat 50. Fat calorie total fat 6 grams.
Great.
Saturated fat 0.5. Sodium 180.
Okay.
So that's,
So,
you know, carbs is 3 grams. Sugar 2 grams.
okay.
That's not bad.
No. Can you use that as a display for a second? So this is what we tried. We did yogurt-based dressing. So she read off the nutritional ingredients. So this has 60 grams of fat, calories. This has 125, same serving size. Less fat, less sodium, less sugar, less everything. Does that make it better? Not necessarily. Yes, not necessarily, yeah, and not if they won't eat it. But, is this more nutrient dense? Absolutely. Because this has less calories, and yogurt has good stuff for you. Does vegetable oil have good stuff for you? Not really. We used a Greek yogurt. It has calcium. It has vitamin A. It has other vitamins and minerals other than what you would see in a regular ranch dressing. Thank you. I'm glad you brought this. But like I said before, we failed. We tried it, and we had tons of complaints. Really had a hard time with it. Do you know this?
No, it just doesn't surprise me.
Yes. Why was that?
What did she say? I'm sorry.
That doesn't surprise her. Let's go back to our little wheel here. Why was that? This didn't match. This didn't match. This didn't match. That and that were great. The nutrient, great. Did it smell good? Yeah, we used fresh dill, cilantro, all these fresh ingredients. Smelled great, nutritious. It was a little white. So as soon as people got it upstairs, they got skeptical. Didn't look like Hidden Valley. Yeah. It was a little looser because of the yogurt base. And they tried it. So automatically, at that point, what are they thinking? Yeah. This isn't Hidden Valley. What are you doing? Yeah. So we had people get on the phone and call back down before they try it, saying there's something wrong with the dressing. And then we tried to explain it, and that's where it really went off the wheels. Exactly. So that's where all of these have to match up. Now we did do an Italian dressing, and we still do to this day. That one did work. Why? All of these. So we used the olive oil. Flavors there. Use a nice red wine vinegar. It's aromatic. The texture is right on. And it's visually appealing. It's a nice red color. It looks good. All of these have to match, though. If one of them's off, it doesn't matter. Because eventually someone's going to say no, or they don't like it, or there's something wrong. And once somebody kind of makes their mindset that this isn't right and this isn't what I want, it's really hard to move them back over to this side. So our new set of dressings we're going to do, we're going to try a new yogurt that they're putting out that has a little bit different color. So it's a little more natural coloring. So it has a little more yellow to it, so I'm really hoping that'll get one of ours.
You just stick a couple drops of food coloring in it. I mean, could you cheat just a little?
We could. There does become a part where it's cheating, and then it gets to deceiving, and then we don't want to deceive. There are times, perfect example of that is, who here likes ground beef? Eats ground beef. What's a great alternative for ground beef if you're into stealth health? Ground turkey. Ground turkey. What's the problem with ground turkey? It's great. It's nutritious.
It looks so
pale.
Yeah.
It looks anemic.
Yep. So if we go back here, what's wrong? Yep, visually, it's white. A lot of people say the flavor's different, and it is. It doesn't have as much fat in it. It doesn't congeal quite the same. The texture can be a little funky. It doesn't want to hold together as well. But it's nutritious. How do you make that change? That's actually a good. You can mix it. You can mix half ground beef, half ground turkey. Is it as good as all ground turkey? No. Is it as bad as all ground beef? No. So you're meat in the middle. You can also do different applications. So would I suggest doing it on a meat loaf? Absolutely not. Burger, where they can just see it? No. Baked ziti? Yeah. You got red sauce in there to help cover it up. It's not needing to hold together. It's more of a sauce. So there's some different applications. Another one, whole grain products. Someone tell me what that is? Something that's whole grain. Pasta bread. So you have two options at the store. You can either go refined penne, or you can go whole wheat penne. Whole wheat. Tastes different. Or looks different. So does it meet all of the wheel? Yeah, and some people do like it. But for the masses, it doesn't quite meet all the wheels. It looks different. It's darker. It has a little different texture. It's a little chewier. Because it has the bran, the endosperm, all of it still mixed in. Is it more nutritious? Yes. Yeah. So how do we cover that gap? How do we get people to eat it? Cover it with sauce. Hey, homemade marinara, you can't beat it. So we don't serve it in traditional manners. We don't do an egg noodle that's whole grain because the egg noodle goes up and it's sitting right there on the plate and they see it. And they go, color's wrong. Color's wrong, there's something wrong. So we do it sauces. We also do it in some of our purees. We'll actually sneak some of the noodles in there. So if we're doing for instance, a fish. So fish, natural way of pureeing food is you add your meat, you add a little bit of liquid, and then you add bread back in to thicken it back up. So if you use cooked penne pasta, that starch will act like a binder and grab a little of that puree. So that's one way that we can get it into the diet. Instead of using white bread, use penne pasta. Seasoning substitution. So everybody's heard of Mrs. Dash, correct? Does anybody like Mrs. Dash? What's some other ways that we can get flavor without sodium? Yep, herbs and spices. So do a little trick one day. Walk down Schnucks aisle and look at all their pre-made mixes, and just turn them around and look and see what the number one ingredient on most of them are. Salt. Lemon pepper seasoning, the number one ingredient is salt. That makes sense to anybody else. And that's the convenience product. That's the one thing that people go grab. Oh, we're making steaks, so there's steak seasoning. I'm going to grab it and put it in the cart, and it's all salt. Grab rosemary. Anymore, most of the grocery stores have a great selection of fresh herbs. A lot of them you can get nice spices. So you can get fennel, or you can get allspice, or cardamom, or turmeric. Something that's a little different. Granted, is everybody going to like that or accept that at first? No. That's what you do. This is for a party for, I'd say the general population was 75 years old. You know what this is? Big old sprig of rosemary. We marinate our steaks with rosemary. They loved it. Did they know that they were eating rosemary? Absolutely not. We didn't put salt on them. No salt in steaks at all. They had no clue that it wasn't on there because we used herbs, we used different spices. And then we used onions, garlic. And what are onions, garlics, shallots, what do they all fall under? Aromatics. So they're this piece. They're the thing whenever you sit that plate down in front of you, you smell it. Yep. Draws you into that plate.
So if we're cutting down on salt, how are we getting our iodine? Because that's in our area of the neck of the woods.
Yeah.
You know, we're not exposed to a lot of fresh fish and all that sort of thing. So how do we get our iodine?
It takes very little salt to get your allotment of iodine. So a tablespoon, tops-ish. Yeah.
Okay.
So iodine is a trace mineral, so you need very little. You pick it up, and anything that's pretty much prepackaged has some sort of sodium in it. Yeah, so you'll pick it up along the lines. If you ever feel like your iodine is getting bad, yes, just take some salt. Most
so
people
got iodine in it because I accidentally picked up.
That very
without iodine.
With iodine. In general, in our society anymore, sodium intake is a larger concern than iodine, which is a good thing. But sodium has become kind of the bear. Because we do so many takeout restaurants, we do so much prepackaged food. Sodium is the new thing that we're really trying to combat. And it's really hard because what's the first thing everybody does when they make food? I do it. Salt it. Yeah, you put salt on it.
Taste it.
Exactly. Someone brings you food at the restaurant. My dad is the worst. He takes salt and puts it on before he tastes it. I'm like, you have to taste it first. That's hard because that's been ingrained for us for a long time. We all love salt. Your body is hardwired to love certain things. Salt, sugar are two of them. And fat's another one. But we have way more supply than we've ever had before. So the supply of fat and sugar and salt is immense. We can go out and get all of them right now, all day long. So now we have to manage ourselves. We have to watch ourselves. Watch everybody else. We have to make it a culture, again, of eating healthy. It's not that fact that my grandpa ate poorly, but he focused on, he loved fresh produce. He also didn't snack very much. He would eat his dinner. He might eat steak and potatoes and green beans, but he didn't snack. He didn't add those extra calories, most of the time if you snack, you're not going to go grab fruit. You guys might, because you guys like nutrition. Most people aren't going to go grab fruit. They're going to grab M&Ms. They're going to grab chips. And that's what gets you in trouble. That's what lifts that calorie intake. So if you have your calories, you need to take 2,000 calories a day. And and you take in 220 today, is that going to kill you? Is that horrible? No. 220. Or, yeah, 2,200. Sorry. Yeah, no, not. Yeah. If you take in 200 extra calories today. No, calories aren't, it's not a day-to-day battle. It's everything. You live life every day. You go up and down. Some days you might take in a little more. Some days you might take in a little less. It's all about maintaining that equilibrium. So keeping it right there. There are days that I'm really bad and long day at work, and I get the huge problem of having unlimited free food. People always go and taste this. So there are days that I eat a lot. There are also days that I don't eat as much. And there are days that for lunch I'll go get a salad because I know we have a party and I'm going to be eating food later that night. But it's not so much of our society as seeing calories and maintaining and controlling all of this as here all day, every day, 2,000 calories. I'm going to count it all down. I'm going to hold it right here. I personally don't think that's good. I think when people focus so hard on maintaining that calorie level or that fat level or that sodium level, they get frustrated and they give up. They stop. They're like, this is too much work. I'm already working. I already got kids. I already got house payment, car payments. I don't need to worry about how many grams of sodium I'm taking in today. So it's all about knowing what are the right choices to eat, preparing them correctly, and then maintaining that equilibrium. So maintaining that flat line level. All right, I'm a little bit early. Anybody have any questions?
You spoke about buying fresh herbs. Do you have any advice on how to keep them longer?
If your fridge has a chiller, that'd be great. The chiller box, they're a little higher. I don't. The only thing I can suggest is a lot of recipes call for 4 or 5 different fresh herbs. You don't have to use all of them. A lot of it's Food Network recipes get on my nerves because they go over the top. They want you to buy all this stuff for one recipe. They call for parsley, cilantro, oregano. We'll go with those 3. That's easy. You might only need to buy parsley or cilantro. The flavor profile of those two are really similar. It's about using what you have. I know my wife is horrible about buying a ton of stuff for a recipe and then we throw it away, unfortunately. And it's very bad, and that's the problem with using fresh, because they come in little ones now, but still those are a lot if you're cooking for yourself or a couple of people.
Can you freeze them? Yes. I can say that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, because I chop all of my fresh herbs and put either in olive oil, in ice cube trays and freeze it, or in water and freeze it, and then I use them all in the home.
The one problem with that, it's a good idea. The one thing you have to be careful is it can be a sanitation issue. Anytime you put something into oil, it actually can start breeding bacteria.
Oh, even in the freezer?
Well, the thawing or freezing portion of that, so if you pull it out to thaw it, during that time it could possibly. And you might be fine 99% of the time, but that's one thing that we're not allowed to keep at the hospital is flavored oils that we do ourselves, because the oil, with the reaction in there can create bacteria, cause dysentery. So that's just one thing to be careful for. That's why, I've done it before, and I've never had a problem, but I can't suggest it. Yeah.
There's a product called Snot Balance. It's a margarine.
Margarine. Most of those are hydrogenated oils, which they end up having trans fats that are not very good for you. A better choice would be using some kind of oil like this, like the olive oil, canola oil, or just using regular butter would be better than using some of those spreads.
So like for toast or something, better off using like just a stick of butter versus some of that kind of stuff.
Your calorie and fat intake might be higher, but you're not getting trans fats, which are worse in the long run than just those two.
What about like the yogurt-based stuff of that? I'm not trying to like that. Starts with a B, Brummel or whatever.
Brummel?
Does that have the hydrogen?
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with
That's
that
made
product.
with yogurt.
Pardon?
I think that's made with yogurt.
Yogurt?
It is, but I didn't know if that has
look, that's where the label comes in great. They all have to say trans fat. So if you look at the label and it says 0 trans fat, you're good. If it says 4 grams of trans fat, you might want to make an educated decision there. No, go ahead. No, you're fine.
I just had a question. At the hospital, have you all thought about like a community garden on site or some type of garden that you could use the produce in the hospital? Like I know we've seen some models of other hospitals, even in Indiana. Some are even hiring like farmers to, you know, take care of the land and then use it. Have you thought about anything like that?
We have. I would say at this point it's a thought.
Sure.
I'm not going to say we've gone any further than that.
Yeah.
Logistically, it would be the challenge, but I love it. Louisville has a ton of restaurants that have gardens on top of their restaurants, and I think it's fantastic.
Just use it. Right?
Yeah, I have a big garden in my backyard, and we eat out of it all summer long. Logistics, space become a big issue, and then liability as far as anything that we produce, we get cited for. So for instance, I couldn't do a cooking display here because if you tried something and you got sick, we would get in trouble. So then if you're producing your own, then you have to go through a whole nother set of, so it's great that they're doing it. It involves a lot of resources because you have to build up your team. It's a great thing.
Isn't it Jasper's Memorial?
Jasper?
Just started one to
That's fantastic. Yes.
Okay.
There's a wonderful hospital in Indianapolis called Eskenazi, where there is a rooftop garden, and yes, that produce is used in the dietary department. But there's special rules and regulations on doing all that.
Absolutely.
But it's fantastic.
Yes, I would love to.
And the public is allowed to go to that rooftop and see it during the growing season.
And that's,
so it's a wonderful sightseeing stop.
Yes.
And I don't know exactly where it is, except that it's downtown, southwestern part of Indianapolis.
That's awesome. And then part of that comes size-wise. We have 300 people in our hospital. We use a lot of food. So we have to have a pretty big farm. I order 6 25-pound cases of green beans each day. So that would be it's a big, that's a lot going on.
Going back to the coconut oil, it seems like the past year, Fresh Market has all these coconut oils, and everybody's talking about coconut oil and how healthy it is for you, and how you should cook with it instead of olive oil.
But what have you learned today that make you think that's not true?
So where did all this praise about coconut oil?
A lot of nutrition is good marketing.
I was going to say Dr. Oz and some of those trainers, they have a recipe that's got a lot of flaxseed, it's got coconut oil and eggs.
And Greek yogurt, another great, I love Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is all it is you take cheesecloth and you put regular yogurt in and drain out the water and you have Greek yogurt. It's fantastic marketing. So
there's nothing to it.
There's healthy aspects, but they ignore the saturated fat issue, and they push. There's good things in here, nothing listed, but there's quality things. So I'll use Greek yogurt because I can speak more to that. Greek yogurt and regular yogurt have very little health differences, but they kind of pushed that on and promoted it and got it going. And once you get the ball rolling, that's kind of where marketing comes in and takes over. Now, added sugars, some of the sugar substitutes, that can get into like the yogurt issue, and that can make things different. But overall, a lot of marketing you have to be careful of. Perfect example is these. Fat-free, Hidden Valley, what could be better in the world? They want you to think that it's great, it's healthy, it's totally different, you're fine. You just have to be careful.
Well, is it Greek yogurt supposed to be higher in protein then?
It is high.
Yeah, but that's where you need to look at your portion sizes and your, so it's going to be more condensed. So it's less water, so you're going to get, per yogurt, if it's 2 tablespoons the same, you're not really getting the same amount of yogurt, because a lot of that yogurt and regular, like Yoplait is water.
The diets that you're able to make so flavorful at the hospital, you have somebody come in that's on a cardiac arrest or whatever, and they have to go home on a cardiac diet and they go home, they can't make those diets as flavorful as what you have done. Do you ever share like your secrets on how to help the patient?
Patient rounding. I get the 5th floor, which is target. So I do my part, but a lot of that, the dietitians will give them menus, give them take-home material. I don't expect them to try to make food like we make food. It's too hard, it's too cumbersome, but there's tricks. There's using the spices, there's using ground turkey instead of ground beef. It's more about the, I hate saying tricks because it makes it sound weak, but it is. It's about the fixing the stealth of it, the getting that food in front of them, open up their eyes. Because if I give them one of our recipes, you know what's going to happen. They're going to take it home, they're going to put it on their Curio, and it's going to sit there forever. Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to go home and have a list of recipe that has a list of ingredients that long. I mean, nobody wants to do that. So that's the advice I give them. And what we talked about being focused on fresh produce, fresh meats, whole muscle meats, things that aren't processed already.
My husband recently had surgery and was put on an anti-nausea diet.
Okay.
And his surgeon and his nurse didn't understand why he was on that diet. Is that something that is ordered by the anesthesiologist, or is it something that's just automatic for people in general?
Diet orders are normally done by the physician. So they will put in the order, and now, granted, I don't know what the process is behind that. We get it from a physician, so it might be a physician, it might be the anesthesiologist or something down the line. That's probably more related to what drugs he was on.
Just like standing orders, maybe that someone's not aware of.
Yeah. Because how the doctors always order our diet orders. Is there a question? Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.